Good morning and welcome to A Brown Bag Gentleman. My name is Scott, and today we're going to do a introduction to double-edged safety razor shaving. I was talking to a colleague, Yang, at work who was expressing interest, so I thought I would just do a very basic shave video for getting you started, what to buy when you first start. So let me show you. Get down here. Sorry, I'm holding the camera here. So to start with, you need you need a soap, you need a brush, you need a razor, and of course my razor blade is already in there. This is optional, but I highly suggest it, is an alum block. And of course you need a washcloth. So with that, whoops, sorry, put my hand in front of the camera. Sorry, with that, let me pause while I put the camera on the base so I can free up my hands, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I am back, and we're going to start today. So to start with, I've taken the cap off my shaving soap. So that's kind of what it looks like. Mine's a couple of years old. I don't use it a whole ton, but I really enjoy this scent, this Alec Gary scent. Very good stuff. And we're also starting with a synthetic brush. All the products you see today are all purchased from the Italian barber, and things like this brush are Razor Rock, which is the house brand for Italian barber. Of course, that's the alum block too, and the razor is from there as well. It's their razor. It's their version of a double open comb. So I got it from there. That's not their handle, but basically they have so many choices of razors. I'll kind of leave that up to you. I'm not going to put the specific down below because look through the website, see what you like. But I highly suggest their house brand brush because it's inexpensive. They were the first ones that I know that came out with a synthetic here on this side of the pond, because the first one I purchased was from France and from Lathering, and they made the Plasson brush. Well, this is called the Plasoft. So yeah, it's their take on it. Basically, it's fine. And there's a myriad of different ones now, of course. But yeah, start with the basics. Start with something inexpensive. Shouldn't cost you more than $10 or $12 for this. And this one's old, so yeah, it'll last you a while too. Razor should last you a lifetime. Don't drop it too many times on the floor. Yeah, it'll last you. And the soaps, generally, if you use this every day, if you shave 7 days a week, soap like this size should last you like 3 months. So I'm going to dip the tip. I've got my sink full of hot water right now, so I'm just going to just toss it in the sink, let it sink to the bottom, swirl it around a couple of times. Now I'm going to shake it here. Shake, shake, squeeze. So 2 shakes and a squeeze. That's what I usually do. You'll get used to each soap, how it performs. Sometimes I do just 3 shakes and no squeeze to have a little bit more water. But I'll start with that, and we can add water. So I'll show you how to add water. So we take our brush, and so I'm going to swirl it about 100 times. That's after about 50 times. There we go, that's 50 times. So today, the only method we're going to do, we're going to build lather on the face, because if you're starting out, you don't own a bowl, or maybe some people just don't like to use a bowl. I do. I normally use a bowl nowadays. It's my preference, but I mix it up too every now and again. Go back to some basic, just lathering right on the face. So I dip my washcloth in the sink water, squeeze it out a little bit just so it's not too drippy, but still it is very damp, because we have to start by washing the face. And this is an important step. If you haven't just stepped out of the shower in the last couple of minutes, wash your face. So we're just going to use this soap to wash the face. You don't need a separate bar of soap. I have it. That's what I use, separate and something separate. But you're starting out now. You use what you already mixed up in the brush. Simple enough. There we go. And I'm just standing the brush like this on my counter. So I take that washcloth. I haven't wrung it out anymore or anything. I haven't done anything with it. There we go. Close enough. Not getting. Now my Face is now moistened from the water, and of course softened from the from the wash. And I'm just rinsing. I'm bringing out my washcloth in the sink now here. Just getting it ready for future use at the end when I wash off again. So now I'm just going to wring it out, nice and tight. Fold it up and just set it on the sink counter. Now we're going to start shaving. So the face is very wet, and we're going to scrub in to start, because we're building lather basically inside the brush. I'm going to say this is just a house brand soap, nothing fancy, but boy, it does lather up well. And I didn't have to add any water for this particular soap. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you'll notice it's dry. It's just not building up, and you notice. Then you just, what you do is you dip your fingers in the sink, and just do that. Just drip your fingers into the soap and keep going. And that's kind of how you add water. Today I didn't have to do that. Some soaps are thirstier than others. Depends on the style of soap, where you got it, who made it, what recipe they use, because there's a variety of recipes. There's tallow and non-tallow. Tallow is a beef fat, basically. It's a purified beef fat for cosmetic use. Okay, so we got my razor. I'm going to just swirl it around the water about 10 times just to warm it up a little bit. There we go. Shake it off a couple times, get rid of the excess water, warms it up. Pass 1 is going to be with the grain. Hair on my face goes down, hair on my neck goes up. So I'm going with the grain on my first pass. Light touch. That's the thing, you have to get used to a light touch. If you've been using a multi-blade plastic one and you've been pressing down, you don't have to do that. Using the other side of the blade now to go. Oh, I'm stretching out my neck. There we go. Rinsing off the head, getting the soap off it. About 10 times, that's what I do. Yeah, nice and clean. And then see, if you use an actual soap you have to whip up, it's a lot better than this goo out of the can. It really is. Better slickness, better perform. It just works better. So I highly recommend it. If you do nothing else, but you're thinking about going to DE razors, I would say start by just buying a soap and brush. Start with that. Learn how to use the soap and brush. And use that with your DE blade while you're learning, and then you can go buy. I mean, that way you buy a few pieces at a time, and it doesn't hit the wallet so hard. Can't do the nose. I'm kind of stretching down over my teeth. We do have a little blemish right there. I'm trying to be very light over it. There, that's good enough. There we go. Pass 1 is done. Now we'll go back to the soap. In a lot of videos, they'll wash in between. I'm not going to, because in reality, you're not going to. So I'm just showing you what you're really going to do. So we're putting leather on from the brush on your face again. So I go from swirling it to just painting it. So notice the two different techniques for applying the soap. So just painting it on kind of builds it up on your face. There we go. Soap is on there. Rinse that out, warm it up again. Pass 2 now is going to be across the grain. So it's kind of sideways in on neck and face in this case. Stretch out the skin. Light touch. I got 3 fingers in this, that's it. Okay, that's good for that half. I'm just going to rinse it off. Start on this side. And do stretch out the skin. Some people use their fingers too to help stretch it out. especially on their necks. You'll see them like pulling down the bottom. And not a bad idea, especially starting out. And of course, I recommend getting like a multi-blade pack from Italian Barber. They'll sell you a multi-blade pack for like 25, 30 bucks for, you know, a handful of different brands. That way you can try different blades. What I have in here is my recommendation blade, especially for beginners, is an Astra. It's a good middle-of-the-road blade, not overly, you know, not too sharp, not too dull. It's like just good, solid middle of the road. And I can get like 6 shaves out of an Astra blade in a DE razor. Okay, pass 2 is done. Some people squawk at that; they can only get 1 or 2 or 4 or whatever. So it's like in the shaving community, we call it YMMV. Your mileage may vary. So everybody's a little bit different. Your skin's different. What it likes, what it doesn't like. Not going to cover that stuff in this video. I could cover it in other videos. Just trying to get you started. There's enough to think about with just learning how to use the razor, for example. So now, pass 3 is going to be against the grain. So pass 1 was with the grain. Pass 2 was across the grain. Pass 3 is going to be against the grain. So against means going up on the face and down on the neck. And that'll get you your really close shave. This is what's going to separate a DE razor shave from your multi-blade shave. So stretch the face out, light touch. And of course, down on the neck, stretching out the neck. Just very light touch. And I have to do about 3 downstrokes on each side of the, and over the Adam's apple. And I'm just going to stretching it out and tightening it out. There we go. There's enough residual slickness in the soap that I can go back over it with no like soap on it, but that's because I've been doing this for a while. Being new, put some more soap on. There's plenty in the brush. Go over it again. Don't hurt yourself. Because the thing is, you'll be pressing too hard when you're learning how to use this. And the trick is, with a nice metal razor, you don't have to press. There's barely any pressure on my face right now. There we go. Stretch it out. So let's say I want to go over the neck area just a little bit more, which I usually have to. Of course, I could just do this. It's already in the brush. Just throw on a little bit more. Done. Now, I'm not, I put on more slickness and less have to like get a skin irritation. I'm just basically buffing. Super light touch. I mean, this is like even more light. Yeah, just trying to get those fine hairs in there. Stretching out the skin. And for me, especially with the gray hair, it's more coarse. I find I do have to do this on my neck. So the 4th pass, I usually neck only. I don't have to do it on my face. But the neck, yeah, and it's just a buffing, what we call buffing pass. And that just makes it really smooth and nice. So that was it. So let me pause. Basically, well, actually, all I'm going to do is wash the soap off my face. So let me pause and do that. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I am back. I've washed the face off with my washcloth. I basically rinsed it out under warm water, wrung it out, and wiped my face off with a warm washcloth. So to me, it's important. The warmth gets rid of the soap residue on your face. And now we need to close these pores so we don't have other issues, skin issues. So I'm going to run the cold tap in my sink. I'm going to grab my little towel off the wall. I have dedicated shaving towel. You don't have to. Just get the hand towel out of the linen closet. You're fine. That's all you need. You start, you don't need special stuff. I've been doing this for 14 years plus, so yeah, I've got special stuff. And it's more an enjoyment thing than it is need. It really isn't a need. There we go. So I'm going to splash on. I'm going to basically cut my hands with cold water, splash my face. Camera's up high. I can't show you this, so just know that I'm splashing on cold water twice. Okay, now I'm going to take that alum. There we go. Take that alum. That's basically, it's a big mineral salt is what it is. My face is soaking wet, so I can just start doing this. Because it needs water to glide easily. If it gets like a drier spot on your face, it'll like stick. And yeah, I have a little blemish. It's 90 some odd degrees with a heat index over 100 degrees here in North Carolina. Has been a week. I've been outside doing some chores, so yeah, I got a little blemish on my face. It's this kind of heat and sweat. It's going to happen. Now, what this does, and this is why I really recommend you get one of these, especially from the beginning. It's dirt cheap. That's like $5 or $6. And this one's a couple years old. It's been used a lot, but and it'll last you a while. And I go around my skin basically twice in the face. That's kind of what I do. Some people recommend waiting 30 seconds, rinsing it off. I don't rinse it off. All I do, it's because they say my skin is all wet and everything else. All I do is pat it dry. That's all I do. I leave it on. And I like it on my skin. I like this better than witch hazel. So for me, this works better than witch hazel. So that's why I prefer this. I do wash like my forehead and stuff with witch hazel. I do that with the treatments, but I don't post shave with witch hazel. I just don't. I stopped doing it. I use alum all the time. There. You don't really feel it, but it will sting. Like if you've nicked yourself, whatever, it will sting, but it'll sort of like a styptic pencil. It'll help seal it a little bit. If you got a big cut, you need the styptic pencil. You do. You've already got one because you've cut yourself with that multi-blade many times. But I do cut myself less than I did with a multi-blade. These razor blades are sharper for me. They're definitely sharper and they work better. And the way of the razor, the smoothness, you get a much smoother shave. I've got a really nice shave right now. Feels great. And of course, off camera, I'm going to splash on some aftershave. I'm not covering this in this video. This is just basics. You don't have to have an aftershave, but you really do want the alum block or alum stick or whatever you want to call it. You want the alum on your skin. So with that, shaving is done. Hope you enjoyed. Go with God.